Good Tuesday morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us from the Ohio Agnet, the voice you know with the news you trust studio, sponsored by the Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution. I'm Joe Everett. Well, currently 49 degrees outside here at the farm this morning, and yesterday here on our farm, we were able to finish up the soybean harvest, which was a great feeling, before getting back into the cornfields yesterday afternoon. Later, we'll talk about the Ohio Crop Progress Report and to see how farmers are getting along in the Buckeye State. Now let's check out some of your agricultural news headlines. Well, the USDA's beef production outlook is noticeably higher from September. Third and fourth quarter of 2024 production is forecasted to be higher than last month, raising the annual forecast to 27 billion pounds, just above the 2023 production. U.S. dairy milk production is expected to decline in 2024 due to lower yields from aging cows, adverse weather, and limited replacements. Imports are expected to increase while exports remain mostly stable. Projected broiler production is adjusted down slightly in 2024 on a recent slaughter data, but revised upward in 2025 on a favorable hatchery indicators and feed prices. Projected broiler exports were adjusted down in 2024 and in 2025 on a recent data and strong global competition. Wholesale broiler prices expectations are higher based on recent price data and strong demand expectations. Projected turkey exports in 2024 were also adjusted down slightly. Projected turkey prices were adjusted down for the fourth quarter of 2024 and in the 2025 based on weaker demand. In other news, the farmland market appears to be slowing as the calendar gets closer to the end of the year. Tim Cobb of the American Society of Farm Managers and Rural Appraisers says things had been steady for most of the year.
We've seen steady, at least at the beginning of the year, to a bit higher volume of sales opportunities. However, the latter half of this year has been a bit mixed. Things are starting to slow a little bit, due what I would feel mostly to the retreat of external interest. We've just seen a bit of a protraction and a bit of a slowing in the volume of it. Many of the farms that had transacted this year have either sold directly to an operator or the operator has been involved, the actual farmer being the main buyer of many of the farms that we've taken care of in 2024 thus far.
He also says that farmland is sitting available on the market for longer periods.
Things are taking a little bit longer. They're taking a little bit longer to get sold, and eventually they do get sold. However, it really is taking longer than it used to even 12 to 24 months ago, which is indicative of just the amount of buyers that we are not seeing in the market right now from an institutional perspective. We work with buyers and sellers, lots of different kinds, and we're seeing less and less interest as other investments are having some bigger returns at this point.
That was Tim Cobb with the American Society of Farm Managers and Rural Appraisers. Stay tuned. We'll be back to take a look at today's weather after this.
Hi, everyone. This is Dale Minio from the Ohio Agnet. For a quarter of a century, I powered my truck with biodiesel, traveling the state promoting agriculture. Biodiesel is a reliable, high-performance fuel that works in any diesel engine without modification. The best part is that with every mile driven, I'm fueling the economy, doing good for the environment, and supporting soybean farmers. Learn how using biodiesel can add value to every bushel of soybeans grown at soyohio.org.
Do you know where the kids are?
Yeah, they're just right over there.
A child dies in an agriculture-related accident every 3 days. Every day, at least 33 kids are injured. 60% of them were not working when they were injured. Let's make sure the next generation is safe. No children are safe before moving equipment. This message brought to you by the Ohio Agnet, OSU Extension Ag Safety and Health Team, and this station.
Now let's take a look at today's weather, brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
Another dry and warm day here in Ohio today. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at your forecast update. This dry, warm weather lingers on into the later part of the week. I don't see any significant changes to our forecast pattern until likely Friday. That means today, tomorrow, and Thursday, we should see partly to mostly sunny skies. Frontal boundary coming through on Friday gives us anywhere from a few hundredths to maybe 3 or 4 tenths worth of scattered shower activity. It goes into pre-dawn hours on Saturday morning before going away. Coverage will end up being about 75% of the state. That front ushers in a cooler weekend. We're partly sunny, but definitely chilly for Saturday and Sunday. High pressure sitting right on top of us. And then southwest flow comes back to start next week on Monday, and it holds into Tuesday. We're seeing a frontal boundary eventually get here overnight Tuesday night through Wednesday morning. Could bring some ripping thunderstorms, and if not thunderstorms, at least some good rains. Anywhere from 1/4 to 1.5 inches possible out of that frontal passage on Wednesday. We see Halloween starting damp with cloud cover, maybe clearing out late. We have another weather system that's building in the western part of the U.S. that should be here closer to the 2nd into the 3rd. So the pattern is definitely showing signs of wanting to change to a wetter one as we move through the end of this month and into early November. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Well, as we see combines continue to roll, let's see how they're getting along. The Ohio Crop Progress Report update is sponsored by AgriSpray Drones, empowering rural America through complete spray drone solutions. You can contact them at agrispraydrones.com/Arnold Precision. Starting with the national numbers, corn matured was pegged at 98%. That is 1 point ahead of last year's 97% and 3 points ahead of the 5-year average of 95%. As for the harvest progress, corn harvest moved ahead 18 percentage points nationally to reach 65% complete as of Sunday. That was 10 points ahead of last year's 55% and 13 points ahead of the 5-year average of 52%. Looking at soybeans, soybean harvest slowed down last week, moving ahead 14 percentage points to reach 81% complete as of Sunday. That was still 9 points ahead of last year's 72% and 14 points ahead of the 5-year average of 67%. Winter wheat planting progress slowed last week, moving ahead 9 points to reach 73% complete nationwide as of Sunday. That is 1 point behind last year's 74% and 3 points behind the 5-year average of 76%. As for the crop development, an estimated 46% of the winter wheat had emerged as of Sunday, 3 points behind last year's 49% and 4 points behind the 5-year average of 50%. Now looking at your numbers from the Buckeye State, topsoil moisture condition was rated 68% short to very short. The average temperature for the week was 49 degrees, and that is 3.1 degrees below normal. Corn matured was rated at 97% this week. That is 5 points ahead of last week and 3 points ahead of last year and 2 points ahead of the 5-year average. Corn harvested for grain is at 51% complete. That is 17 points ahead of last week and 32 points ahead of last year and is 24 points ahead of the 5-year average. Soybean harvest made great progress and jumped 16 points from last week to reach 78% this week. That is up 18 points over last year and 17 points ahead of the 5-year average. Winter wheat planted made great progress as well. It is at 77% complete this week, and that is 10 points ahead of last year and 1 point ahead of the 5-year average. Winter wheat emerged is at 36%. That is up 18 points over last week and is 8 points ahead of last year and is 2 points behind the 5-year average. Alfalfa hay fourth cutting is at 95% complete this week, and that is up 5 points over last week. Looking at the crop condition, corn was rated 40% good to excellent. In other news, the USDA's October outlook for beef production and steer prices reflects increases for both. Rod Bain from the U.S. Department of Agriculture has more.
Beef production expected up for both this year and next. USDA World Agricultural Outlook Board Chair Mark Jekanowski says in the October forecast,
beef production was raised 210 million pounds for 2024. We've been seeing some increased steer and heifer slaughter and also higher weights, so that's supporting the production outlook. We expect that to carry through into 2025 as well. We raised the production forecast by 300 million pounds.
Year over year, beef supplies continue to tighten, though. The forecast down over 1 billion pounds in 2025. Jekanowski says that supports projected steer prices.
We raised our steer price forecast for 2024 by $1.07 per hundredweight to $186.18 per hundredweight. Our 2025 steer price forecast is at $186.50 per hundredweight, up 32 cents year over year, and we made a 25-cent per hundredweight increase this month.
I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C. Tennessee.
Hey, thanks, Rod. Well, the USDA announced an investment of more than $46 million in projects aimed at tackling food and nutrition insecurities in underserved communities. The funds also support healthy diets by providing more access to fruits and vegetables for eligible families. Healthy, safe, and affordable food is essential for a strong start for children and is a healthy life for all of us, says USDA Deputy Ag Secretary Xochitl Torres-Small. With these funds, we are investing in healthy food options for people no matter where they live and supporting stronger local and regional food systems. Funding for 20 projects under the Community Food Projects Competitive Grants Program brings together stakeholders from distinct parts of the food system and fosters an understanding of national food security trends and how they might work together to improve local food systems. This investment is expected to help accelerate small production agriculture and increase food access for low-income Americans. Stay tuned. We'll be back to take a look at the grain analysis and your overnight markets after this.
In a time of tight margins when every penny counts, could you be saving more on your monthly energy bill? Ohio Farm Bureau is here to help members get competitive electric and natural gas supply prices through its energy savings program. Participants save an average of 10% on their rates. Let Ohio Farm Bureau help you take the guesswork out of energy savings. Request your free bill analysis at ofb.ag/energy program. Savings not guaranteed. Actual savings may vary.
AmeriHealth Caritas Ohio is your Medicaid plan for more benefits, more rewards. We know that good health means more than just seeing a doctor when you're sick. Eligible members can receive extras like home-delivered meals and family essentials, like baby carriers and kids' school supplies. Members can even earn rewards for playing mobile health trivia games. Learn more at AmeriHealthCaritasoh.com and call the Ohio Medicaid Consumer Hotline at 1-800-324-8680 to choose AmeriHealth Caritas Ohio.
It's now time for the Louis Dreyfus Grain Analysis, and that is brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finishing mostly higher on a Monday. We started the work week with a little bit of a bounce, mostly due to outside market help and outside headlines. Let's talk about what was going on yesterday. Soybean and wheat futures rose on short covering amid a general slight bounce in a host of commodity markets. It all was related to the cut in the China lending rate. China overnight cut their lending rate, and that gave a generous bump to most in the commodity sector. China's 25 basis point reduction in its lending rate will boost consumer confidence and demand. The impact of the nearby rate cut should be digested probably no later than today. Brokers estimate yesterday that Managed Money bought 3,600 contracts of Chicago wheat, 5,900 contracts of corn, 4,100 contracts of soybeans. They also bought 2,300 contracts of soy oil, 1,900 of soy meal. So again, it was kind of a rising tide lifts all boats scenario. The weekly export sales report last week was ho-hum, humdrum, but we had some flash reported sales yesterday. 169, almost 170,000 metric tons of corn to Mexico, 130,000 tons of corn to South Korea, 198,000 metric tons of corn sold to unknown destinations, 116,000 metric tons of beans sold to unknown, rumored to be the EU, and 264,000 tons of beans received in the reporting period for delivery to unknown destinations. That was rumored to be China. A very active day yesterday on the flash reporting system, but it does not hold a candle to the 42 to 48 cargoes of Brazilian beans that were rumored to have traded to China late last week. That was a big story. Weekly export inspections, nothing really to sneeze at. Nearly 40 million bushels of corn, 89.4 million bushels of beans, just shy of 10 million bushels of U.S. wheat. I'm Ryan Martin.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Now let's take a look at your overnight markets, brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Well, things not looking very positive in Chicago. Let's start off with December corn, 408.5, down a penny. March corn, 422 1/4, down 1. November soybeans, 979 3/4, down 1 1/4. January soybeans, 989 1/4, down a half. December wheat, 567, down 5 1/4. March wheat, 587 3/4, down 4 1/2. Now looking at livestock from yesterday's close, October live cattle 187, down 62 cents. December live cattle 186.82, down 50 cents. December lean hogs 78.27, up 45 cents. February lean hogs 82.25, up 40 cents. November feeder cattle 246.60, down $1, and January feeder cattle 244.25, down $1.25. November class 3 milk 20.66, down 23 cents. Have a great day, everyone, and be safe out there. I'm Joe Everett, and you're listening to the Ohio Agnet.